So when I first started in children's ministry, I had no idea what I was doing. Now, I thought I did. I had been in adult ministry for a long time, knew about that. But our children's director left to travel and do some other things, who was very good, by the way. And so I got in this and I thought, I mean, how hard can this be? They're just like adults, only smaller. Shouldn't be a problem. So my very first Sunday running children's church, I'm standing there, I'm behind my podium, and I'm waiting for the kids to file in. Very first kid comes in, sits down in front of me, looks up and says, "Who are you?" I said, "Well, I'm Pastor Roger." And he said, "Well, where's Brother Larry?" I said, "Well, Brother Larry's not here anymore." He said, "Well, we don't want you. We want Brother Larry." And he stood up and marched out of children's church. Now, to tell you how little I knew about what I was doing, I didn't even know I was supposed to secure the premises. I let him just march out. And so a few minutes later, his mother brings him back. His other kids are beginning to file in, a little disgruntled at me that I let her kid escape. And so we put him back in here, and I began to realize this is a whole new deal, this ministering to children. I did not know that. And so a little bit later, I'm teaching a Bible story, like a couple of weeks into this, and I'm still trying to do my adult ministry thing for kids, which is not working. And so I'm teaching something real spiritual, real deep. I forget what it was. And all of a sudden, I have a disturbance going on that I can kind of see out of my peripheral. And I realized something's going on over here. And I'm thinking, but I didn't want to stop my message to deal with this. But I could see that my workers were trotting over there to kind of quell this thing, put this thing down. I thought, that's good. And so I began to still see out of my peripheral, this thing is now growing. They have not put down this little disturbance. It's now a bigger disturbance. Another worker goes over there, and I'm thinking, okay, so I have to stop, which really irritated me. I had to stop my message, look over there and say, okay, what is going on? Well, without seeing the humor in it, one of my workers says, here's the deal. Billy here took Bobby's offering money because last week Bobby took Billy's Bible. I thought, it hit me at that moment. It hit me. Children's ministry is not the same thing as ministry to adults, because in all my years of preaching sermons to adults, teaching adults, never one time did Mrs. Johnson steal Mr. Anderson's offering money because last week he stole her Bible. That never happened. And I began to realize this is a whole new ball game, and I've got to learn ways to reach these kids and do it differently than I had been used to doing it. So I began to realize I had a lot to learn, but I wanted to make this rock. I mean, I wanted my weekend children's church experience to really be something. I wanted kids begging to come to it. I wanted them talking to mom and dad on the way home about what they, that was really my goal. I'll just tell you this. I wanted the kids, when they left children's church, to talk about what they experienced, what they learned with their mom or dad or whoever brought them to church, to the point that mom and dad or whoever brought them would say to themselves, "Dear Lord, I wish I got to go to children's church because I think they learned more than I did." So that was my goal. I mean, I wanted this to be something. And so I wanted the content to be rich. I wanted the experience to be something else. I mean, I wanted this thing to happen. Now, here's what dawned on me in all that. I began to realize that nobody really cared what I did or how I did it as long as three things were true. Number one, kids were learning about the Lord. Number two, they were having a pretty good time. And number three, everything was safe. If I met those three standards, learning about the Lord, having a good time, make everything safe, people didn't care. And that kind of blew my mind. I began to realize I could do whatever I wanted to do as long as I was doing those three things. So I began to see that the sky was the limit. I mean, so that got my creativity juices flowing, and I began to try things. Some things worked, some things didn't. But I'm going to share with you the things that I believe work in really energizing your Sunday morning or Saturday night or whenever you do your weekend services, but your weekend children's ministry experience. Because I wanted that not just to be status quo, not to be the same old, same old. I want to really rock it out.